It's a pretty good day today because we're doing more fiberglassing, which destruction phase is over and we are now onto the construction. We're putting her back together again. We're making her a beautiful boat like she once was.
This year started out as quite a shocker as we experienced every sailor's worst nightmare.
Fuck.
As traumatic as this event was, it'll take more than this accident to stop us living out our dreams, so we are back in the boatyard fixing our beloved home to go sailing once again. After many days spent on the grinder, the damage to the hull was exposed and then carefully removed.
That's so brutal.
Resulting in 2 massive holes in the hull.
It's got to get worse to get better.
Benita, the brains of this operation, convinced me to hire a contractor to complete the replanking. Thailand are known for great woodworkers and the lads did a fine job replacing the timbers the way they knew how. Each new plank was cut to fit millimetre perfect and all butt ends, including the existing planks, were screwed into the structural internal beams. Adopting a traditional way of caulking wooden boats, they tapped in cotton thread into each seam. Inside, I backfilled all the seams with epoxy glue and then fibreglassed over everything. Outside, the lads had covered their handiwork with an epoxy filler that once set, I got stuck into with the grinder to get it ready to lay more fiberglass. So all the filler that was in here, that's just to raise it all up to bring it back to the same height as the fiberglass because it was just straight wood. So I'm just taking all that epoxy filler back to make it a nice smooth surface. So it's just all one layer. So there's no little indents or anything like that. So there's no little bubbles where the epoxy can go under when we lay glass on top. So I'll make it all smooth back to one thing. And before we glass, I'll scratch it up again with like 40 grit, just give it a hand sand so then it's all scratched and the epoxy's got something to set to. But first we just got to make it flat so it's the same shape as Nandji. So I just got some 120 grit. I just go ham on this patch. This one here, I need to build it up on the inside here, so I might just sand this corner here, and then we can put off a big bit of glass there, and then then we can glass that afterwards. Today we're going to take on the first big patch of fiberglass over where the planks were redone. When we first got out of the water and I was like investigating to see how much damage done, I grinded it all back to fit bare fiberglass. So there's a couple of layers of the black, the blue, we put these on, there's a red there and there's a grey primer and then there's a filler underneath and then a straight fiberglass. There isn't that many layers of anti-foul to get through. So this is all back to raw glass here, that's what the boat's built out of. This is all the filler that was done. So once the filler was all in, I cleaned it all up with the grinder and some 120 sandpaper on the end of it, and then so now we've got all that big exposed area. I've cleaned it all up with acetone, and then because that's all smooth, I've roughed everything up with just a bit of a hand sand with some 60 grit. So I've just given that a bit of a once over, wiped it all down with acetone again, and now she's a nice clean surface ready for glassing. But it's going to be a bit of a challenge because of where it's under. We'll really have to use a lot of epoxy because the epoxy will want to drain out of up the top here and really come down and drip. So we'll have to use heaps of epoxy, we'll have to keep wetting it out. So this could take a while because we'll have to stay with it and keep working it in. But
nurture it like a baby.
Yeah, just keep patting it like Marley. We'll lay down some plastic here and we can put the glass down on that. It'll be important to really wet the glass out and make that super wet to start with down on the ground before we try to get up and layer it, plaster it on there. It's going to be pretty dirty because it's underneath, so we're really going to have to get our bodies into it, so we'll have to sperm suit up and yeah.
Fun.
All right, good morning for all that. We're in the shade, bright and early, no wind, so into it. Before tackling this big piece, we had already a little practice laying some larger pieces of cloth as we had completed repairing the dings in the keel.
It's a pretty good day today because we're doing more fiberglassing, which means that the destruction phase is over and we are now onto the construction. We're putting her back together again. We're making her a beautiful boat like she once was. So pretty exciting.
Over the years of fixing up Nandji, we have slowly increased our skills in fibreglassing, and together we work well as a team to get the job done. We have a saying where I am the captain and Benita is the boss. As long as we follow that saying and know our places, we can work our way through most tasks together.
Excitement for the morning. That was the biggest glass job that we've ever done, so it's a bit of a record for us. Pat on the back. It was a little bit nerve-wracking at the start there because we were trying to stick it on and it wasn't taking. It was you know, sliding off, so we just had to keep working it on there, and eventually it stuck. So
yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, to be honest. I think it looks really good.
This might be our best glass job.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Uncle.
Yes, thanks Uncle.
That was all you, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that looks really good. So we got it all up, and I've kept working it in, and then we let it sit for a bit. I've just put more epoxy into it because it was feeling a little bit dry, so just worked it all in again. It's feeling nice and wet and smooth.
Yeah.
No bubbles, nothing's coming down. Yeah, I think it's really good. We'll just pay attention of it, wait till she kicks, and yeah, worked out really well. Really happy.
Yosh is just putting a little bit more epoxy on there because, like he said, it was draining down, so the top part was drying out and the bottom half was nice and moist. So replenishing the top part.
I'll just finish and tidy up all this piece of glass, so just buff it back, get the glass off of where it's into anti-foul, where we've overlapped it, because that'll just fall away and it's just pointless. I don't want any water getting in underneath. So we'll take it all back to the edge of this actual grinded back to fiberglass bit and just smooth it all up, get all those little lumps and shit off of it. Before this reef scenario that sees us back in the boatyard completing repairs, we thought for a bit of fun we would get a crew member on for the sail across from Thailand to Sri Lanka. Laura came to join the crew. She had already booked her flights, and then learning of her current circumstance, she came anyway.
We're about to embark on the biggest fiberglassing job we've ever done. I never thought we'd have to do something this big, but we're putting Nandji back together, and we're fiberglassing the top coat on the port side. So Yosh has grinded it all back and cleaned it all up with acetone, so now we just need to cut some fiberglass to size and slap it on.
Yeah, it's quite long, this bit. It's not actually that wide, but this one's really long, so it's good that we've got an extra pair of hands. So we're going to have 3 people in on it today. Yeah, so there we go.
Are you ready for fiberglassing? These are our outfits.
Looking good.
This is the only warm thing she owns.
Yeah, do you have any long sleeves? Oh, why, yes, I do.
I've got a lacy number.
Have you got old thongs, or your feet are happy to get covered in shit?
Just a couple of sperms in the boatyard.
What better way to introduce a new crew member to Nandji than throw them in the deep end and help out with repairs? I gave a quick lesson in what needed to be done, and then we committed to the job and started mixing litres of epoxy. This next glass job is bigger and more technical than the last, as we have to work above our heads and lay out the cloth following Nandji's shape and ending down the keel.
Yeah? What?
Ladies?
How's it come?
Ladies,
What's the verdict?
we did a very good job.
Yay! Any bubbles?
No,
No bubbles?
no bubbles. No bubbles.
That's so awesome.
No, that extra little patch I put on's good. That's
Yeah.
covered it well. This is all sucked in. It's all nice and thick with epoxy. It's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Don't really feel
Oh wow. Oh well, I'm gonna touch it.
you can't really
So
feel
sticky.
the grain of the fiberglass of
Yeah.
the cloth. It's all that thick and smooth, so it's just
Full of
soaked
epoxy.
with epoxy, which is really good. Makes
Yeah.
it super strong. Good work, team.
Look at all this here. Do you have to grind all that back?
Yep, I'll leave it on here. Just doesn't matter because it's just straight fiberglass. But over all this anti-foul, it has to come off.
Yeah.
But like, I have to grind it back to this edge anyway. Like that glass on top of that is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes. High five.
Very well done.